Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly achieve everything they touch, while others work tirelessly and barely move forward? Think about it for a moment. Why is it that two people with seemingly the same talent, education, and opportunities end up in completely different places in life? What's the invisible force that separates the truly successful from the average? Here's the truth: most people never realize that success isn't about luck. It isn't about genius, and it certainly isn't about working harder than everyone else. It's about habits, the small daily actions that compound into extraordinary results over time. Every habit, no matter how small, either builds you up or slowly breaks you down. And the most powerful people in the world don't leave their lives to chance. They design them, intentionally, habit by habit. Let me ask you, when you wake up tomorrow, what will you do first? Will it be scrolling your phone, reacting to other people's agendas? Or will it be something that aligns with your dreams, your growth, your future? The answer to that question every single morning is shaping your destiny right now. And most people don't even realize it. Now, imagine waking up every day with absolute clarity, knowing exactly what you need to do to grow, to excel, to become the person who can handle any challenge life throws at them. Imagine being so consistent in your habits that success stops feeling like luck and starts feeling like an inevitable consequence of your actions. That's the life we're talking about, the life built by powerful, intentional habits. In this video, I'm going to take you step by step through 10 powerful habits that separate ordinary people from truly successful people. Some of these habits may feel simple, almost too easy to be true. But don't be fooled, these are the same strategies top achievers use every single day to dominate their fields, grow their influence, and build lives filled with meaning and impact. And here's the kicker: none of these habits require more time. None require luck. They all require one thing: commitment. The kind of commitment that turns pain into progress, struggle into strength, and ordinary days into extraordinary momentum. By the end of this video, you won't just understand these habits, you'll see how to start implementing them today, and why missing just one of them could be silently holding you back from the life you deserve. So stay with me, because what you're about to learn isn't theory. It's practical, it's tested, and it works. And if you choose to act, it will change the trajectory of your life forever. Have you ever noticed that the most successful people seem to start their day differently than everyone else? They aren't just morning people. They've learned the secret that sets their entire day, their entire life on a trajectory of growth. The first habit of truly successful people is simple, but shockingly underused. They control their mornings before the world controls them. Think about it. Your morning is a blank canvas, and yet most people pick up their phones, scroll social media, check emails, and let the chaos of the world decide their mood, their energy, their focus. That one small choice every morning, repeated day after day, is silently shaping the trajectory of your life. If you want extraordinary results, your mornings must be intentional. Successful people start with clarity. They begin with actions that fuel their mind, body, and spirit. Some meditate, some journal, some exercise. But the core principle is always the same: they invest in themselves first, before anyone else demands their energy. Imagine waking up, not to notifications and stress, but to your own purpose, your plan, your vision for the day. That shift alone is enough to give you an edge over 95% of the population, without even trying. Let me share a story. There was a man who used to hit snooze 10 times every morning. His day started late, rushed, and stressful. He felt trapped in a cycle of reacting instead of creating. Then one day, he committed to a morning ritual: 30 minutes of focused reflection, 20 minutes of movement, and 10 minutes of writing down his top priorities. Within weeks, his energy doubled, his focus sharpened, and opportunities that had been invisible before began appearing everywhere. That small daily habit transformed not just his mornings, but his entire life. Here's the secret most people miss: success doesn't require monumental effort. It requires consistent micro decisions. The way you start your day is a micro decision with macro consequences. Skipping your ritual, hitting snooze, reacting to emails first thing, these aren't just harmless choices. They compound, eroding your potential silently and visibly every single day. Your mornings set the tone for your mind, body, and emotions. They dictate whether you approach challenges with calm confidence or panic. They determine whether your creativity flows or fizzles. They decide if you control your day or if your day controls you. Start with your mornings. Own the first hour. Protect it, transform it. Because once your mornings change, your life follows. Have you ever asked yourself why some people accomplish more in a single year than others do in a decade? The answer isn't luck, talent, or even hard work, it's focus. The second habit of truly successful people is deceptively simple. They ruthlessly prioritize what matters most. Most people live in a constant state of business. Their calendars are overflowing, their inboxes are drowning, and their to-do lists are endless. But here's the hard truth: being busy is not the same as being effective. In fact, being busy often disguises mediocrity. The difference between average and extraordinary people is not effort, it's focus. Imagine a sculptor staring at a giant block of marble. They don't carve every side at once. They choose the edges, the lines, the details that will reveal the masterpiece hidden inside. Successful people do the same with their lives. They focus intensely on the few things that create the greatest impact. Everything else, noise, distraction, trivial task, gets eliminated. Let me tell you a story. There was a young professional, overwhelmed and exhausted, juggling 10 projects at once. She thought multitasking was the key to success, but progress was slow and stress was high. Then she discovered the power of ruthless prioritization. Each morning she asked herself, if I could only accomplish one thing today, what would it be? That single question transformed her workflow. Her days became purposeful. Her energy became laser-focused. And the results, projects finished ahead of schedule, recognition from leadership, and most importantly, a sense of control she had never felt before. Here's the lesson: your time and energy are finite. Protect them like your life depends on it, because it does. Every distraction, every low-value task, every yes to something unimportant is a no to your dreams. Successful people understand this. They are comfortable saying no, cutting ties with toxic obligations, and creating boundaries that preserve their focus. Prioritization isn't about doing more. It's about doing what truly matters consistently. It's about ruthlessly removing everything that doesn't serve your goals. And it requires courage, discipline, and clarity. But once you master it, everything changes. When you prioritize like a top performer, you don't just finish tasks, you finish what counts. You stop drifting and start steering. You go from surviving to thriving. And slowly, deliberately, your small, focused actions compound into the kind of success most people only dream about. Have you ever wondered why some people always seem to adapt, grow, and stay ahead no matter how fast the world changes? The third habit of truly successful people is something most overlooked. They are relentless learners. Learning isn't just about school or degrees. It's about a mindset, a way of living that says, I don't know everything, and I never will, but I can always know more. Every skill they acquire, every perspective they consider, every idea they explore compounds over time into massive advantage. This isn't optional, it's essential. The world moves fast, and staying still is the fastest way to fall behind. Consider this: the most influential people in history didn't stop once they arrived. They read, they questioned, they experimented, and they sought knowledge in every corner of life. They knew that what they learned today would become the foundation for tomorrow's breakthroughs. Imagine the power of acquiring just one small insight every day, every week, every month. Over a year, that insight becomes expertise. Over a decade, it becomes mastery. Let me share a story. There was a young entrepreneur who felt stuck, frustrated that his career wasn't progressing. He realized that while he worked hard, he rarely invested in learning. He assumed experience alone would carry him. One day, he committed to reading one book per week, listening to thought leaders, taking one skill, building action every day. Within months, his perspective shifted. His ideas became sharper, his decisions wiser, and doors that had been closed began opening effortlessly. What seemed like a small daily commitment became the catalyst for exponential growth in his life. Here's the truth: learning fuels opportunity, confidence, and resilience. Every habit of learning, whether it's reading, observing, asking questions, or reflecting, strengthens your ability to make better choices, solve bigger problems, and influence others. Successful people don't wait for opportunities. They create them through knowledge and preparation. And it's not just professional. Lifelong learning transforms how you see the world, how you connect with people, and even how you handle failure. The more you know, the more adaptable you become. The more adaptable you are, the more unstoppable you become. So start today. Read, listen, ask, reflect, grow. Because the person you are now is not the person you have to stay as. Every habit of learning compounds, every insight builds momentum, and every day you choose growth is a day you edge closer to extraordinary. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to control their destiny while others are constantly at the mercy of circumstances? The fourth habit of truly successful people is both simple and terrifying. They take full, radical responsibility for everything in their life. Most people spend their lives blaming others, blaming their boss, the economy, their upbringing, or even luck. They hope circumstances will change, waiting for someone or something to rescue them. But here's the truth: no one is coming to save you, and excuses are chains that keep you trapped in mediocrity. The moment you embrace full responsibility, your power multiplies. You stop being a victim and start being the architect of your life. Let me illustrate. There was a woman who had a dream of starting her own business, but every failure in her past made her believe she couldn't succeed. She blamed her lack of resources, her background, and even other people's skepticism. One day, she decided to stop blaming. She wrote down every obstacle in her life and asked herself, which of these can I take responsibility for, and what can I control? The answer transformed her life. Instead of waiting for perfect conditions, she acted. She learned, adapted, and created momentum. Within a year, her business was thriving, and it started with one decision: own everything that is yours to own. Radical responsibility doesn't mean you blame yourself for everything that happens. It means you stop letting external forces dictate your emotions, your actions, or your results. It's the difference between reacting and creating, between drifting and steering. Successful people understand this intuitively. They see challenges as opportunities. They see setbacks as lessons. And they see life not as something that happens to them, but as something they shape moment by moment. Here's the kicker: responsibility is freedom. The moment you stop blaming, the moment you stop waiting, the moment you accept full ownership of your choices, you gain control. Your decisions no longer feel random. Your actions no longer feel meaningless. Every choice becomes a step toward mastery, success, and fulfillment. If you want extraordinary results, start with this look in the mirror. Stop pointing fingers. Identify what's yours to control and act relentlessly. The people who succeed aren't lucky. They are responsible. And responsibility is not punishment. It's the key to unstoppable growth, to confidence, and to a life designed by your own hand. Have you ever wondered why some people can consistently achieve their goals, no matter the obstacles, while others give up at the first sign of struggle? The fifth habit of truly successful people is often ignored, yet it's the backbone of every achievement. They cultivate unshakable discipline. Discipline isn't about punishment, deprivation, or forcing yourself to do things you hate. It's about creating systems and behaviors that make progress inevitable, even on days when motivation disappears. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline is steady. It's the engine that drives long-term success, the silent force behind every breakthrough. Think about it this way: a sculptor doesn't wait for inspiration to carve a masterpiece. They show up every day, hammer and chisel in hand, following a plan. Each strike may seem small, but over time a work of art emerges. Successful people operate in the same way. They follow their routines and systems with consistency, not relying on fleeting bursts of motivation. Let me tell you a story. There was an athlete who dreamed of reaching the top of her sport, but she faced endless challenges, injuries, setbacks, and self-doubt. Instead of giving up, she committed to a disciplined daily routine: training, recovery, and mental preparation, without exception. On days she didn't feel like it, she still showed up. Slowly, the results compounded. Her skill level soared, her confidence grew, and ultimately, she achieved what once seemed impossible. Discipline didn't make the journey easy. It made it unstoppable. Here's the truth: most people avoid talent without discipline is wasted potential. You can have ambition, desire, and intelligence, but without consistent action guided by discipline, results are random and fleeting. Discipline turns dreams into reality by creating momentum, structure, and resilience. Unshakable discipline also builds freedom. It might feel restrictive at first, but paradoxically, the more disciplined you are, the more control you gain over your life. You're no longer a slave to impulses, distractions, or procrastination. Instead, you act intentionally, consistently, and with purpose. Every choice aligns with your long-term goals, and every small victory compounds into unstoppable progress. So start today, define your routines, commit to them, and guard them fiercely. Every day you practice discipline. You're investing in a future where success is no longer a possibility. It's inevitable. Have you ever noticed that the people you spend the most time with often determine your results more than your talent or effort? The sixth habit of truly successful people is a game changer. They surround themselves with excellence. Most people underestimate the power of their environment. They think they can succeed alone, or they settle for the company of people who are average, negative, or unmotivated. But here's the truth: you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you want extraordinary results, your inner circle must reflect that. Surround yourself with those who challenge you, inspire you, and elevate your thinking. Think about it like this: success is contagious. Energy is contagious. Ideas are contagious. If you're surrounded by individuals who constantly dream bigger, act bolder, and push boundaries, you can't help but rise to that level. Conversely, if your circle is filled with doubt, excuses, and negativity, those patterns will quietly infiltrate your life, no matter how talented or motivated you are. Let me share a story. There was a man stuck in a cycle of mediocrity. His friends laughed at his big dreams, and his colleagues were content with good enough. One day he consciously chose to seek out mentors, peers, and communities of driven, high-performing individuals. He spent time listening, learning, and absorbing their habits, mindset, and discipline. Within months, his results transformed. His thinking expanded, his confidence soared, and doors that had been invisible to him suddenly opened. The people around him didn't just inspire him, they pulled him into a higher orbit. Here's the key: excellence doesn't just exist in isolation, it thrives in networks, in ecosystems, in communities. Truly successful people are intentional about who they allow into their mental and emotional space. They don't just seek friends, they seek partners in growth, accountability, and vision. So ask yourself, are the people you spend your time with lifting you higher or holding you back? Are they aligned with your goals, your standards, and your ambition? If not, it's time to make a change. Radical success requires radical alignment, not just in actions, but in the people you choose to walk with. When you surround yourself with excellence, you accelerate your growth, amplify your opportunities, and reinforce the habits that make you unstoppable. The people around you will either elevate your life or quietly keep you average. The choice is yours. Have you ever wondered why some people bounce back stronger after failure while others crumble and give up? The seventh habit of truly successful people is what separates dreamers from achievers: they embrace failure as fuel. Most people fear failure. They see it as a signal that they aren't good enough, that the world is against them, or that their dreams are unattainable. But here's the truth: failure is not the enemy. Failure is the teacher, the guide, the spark that ignites growth. Every setback carries within it the blueprint for your next success if you're willing to learn. Think about it: diamonds are formed under pressure, steel is forged through fire, and mastery comes through repeated mistakes. Successful people don't avoid failure. They lean into it, analyze it, and extract lessons that others ignore. What looks like defeat to the world is actually momentum building in disguise. Let me tell you a story. There was an entrepreneur who launched a product that flopped spectacularly. He could have quit, blamed the market, or convinced himself he wasn't cut out for success. Instead, he studied every misstep: what failed, why it failed, and what could be improved. He iterated, adapted, and launched again. This time, the product took off beyond his wildest expectations. The very failure he feared became the stepping stone to unprecedented achievement. Here's the key: failure is feedback, not finality. Every mistake, every rejection, every disappointment is an opportunity to refine, grow, and become stronger. The people who succeed fastest are not those who never fail. They are the ones who fail wisely, recover quickly, and keep moving forward. And here's the emotional truth most people overlook: embracing failure builds courage. It teaches you resilience. It frees you from the paralyzing fear of imperfection and opens doors to experimentation, creativity, and breakthrough results. Without failure, growth stagnates, potential is wasted, and dreams remain just that, dreams. So start seeing failure differently. Celebrate it, dissect it, and let it fuel your journey. Every setback is a signal that you're pushing boundaries, stretching beyond comfort, and daring to live bigger than most people ever will. When you embrace failure as fuel, you stop fearing the unknown and start mastering it, turning obstacles into opportunities and pain into progress. That's the mindset that separates the truly successful from the rest. Have you ever noticed that some people remain calm, focused, and confident no matter what chaos surrounds them? The eighth habit of truly successful people is the secret behind that unshakable presence. They cultivate emotional mastery. Most people let emotions control their decisions. Anger, fear, frustration, and impatience dictate how they react, what they say, and ultimately what they achieve. But here's the truth: your emotions are not your enemy. They're your compass, your internal signal of what matters most. The difference is, successful people don't react impulsively. They respond intentionally. They master their inner state before they attempt to master the outer world. Think about in the heat of conflict or pressure, the average person panics, lashes out, or freezes. The successful person pauses, breathes, and chooses a response aligned with their goals and values. This doesn't happen overnight. It's cultivated daily through self-awareness, reflection, and deliberate practice. Emotional mastery is not about suppressing feelings. It's about channeling them into constructive action. Let me share a story. There was a manager who faced constant crises at work, projects failing, deadlines slipping, and conflicts erupting in his team. Previously, he would have reacted emotionally, creating tension and stress. But he decided to practice emotional mastery, recognizing triggers, pausing before responding, and choosing actions that built trust and solutions. Over time, his team not only respected him more, but also became more productive, innovative, and loyal. What seemed like a simple shift in mindset transformed an entire environment. Here's the key: your emotional state drives your performance. High achievers know this intuitively. They invest time in reflection, mindfulness, and self-regulation because every decision, conversation, and action carries far more weight when made from clarity rather than chaos. Emotional mastery allows you to navigate uncertainty, recover from setbacks, and lead with influence. And here's the deeper truth most people miss. Mastering emotions isn't just about career success. It transforms relationships, health, and overall fulfillment. When you control your emotional energy, you conserve focus, eliminate distraction, and operate from a place of power instead of reaction. So start today, observe your feelings, understand your triggers, and choose responses that align with your goals. Every moment you master your inner world, you amplify your outer results. Emotional mastery isn't a skill you acquire, it's a life you design. Have you ever wondered why the most successful people seem unstoppable, yet deeply fulfilled at the same time? The final two habits of truly extraordinary people unlock both achievement and meaning. They act boldly, and they give back relentlessly. Most people hesitate, they wait for permission, perfect conditions, or a guarantee of success. But the truth is, fortune favors the bold. The people who change their lives in the world aren't the ones who wait. They are the ones who step forward when others hesitate, take risks, and trust themselves to navigate uncertainty. Bold action turns dreams into reality, ideas into impact, and potential into results. Think about it: every breakthrough in history, every innovation, every life-changing decision came from someone willing to step out of their comfort zone and act decisively. Boldness isn't reckless, it's intentional, calculated courage rooted in preparation, discipline, and vision. When you act boldly, momentum compounds. Small, courageous steps build confidence, open doors, and create opportunities that would have been invisible if you waited. But bold action alone is incomplete. Truly successful people pair it with giving back. They understand that lasting fulfillment comes not just from personal achievement, but from creating impact for others. Giving back doesn't mean donating money. It means sharing knowledge, time, energy, mentorship, and support. When you lift others, you amplify your own growth, inspire loyalty, and create a ripple effect that extends far beyond your own life. Let me share a story. A young entrepreneur built a thriving company through bold decisions, risking reputation and resources on ideas others dismissed. But what made him truly extraordinary wasn't just his success. It was the way he invested in his community, mentoring aspiring leaders, funding initiatives, and creating opportunities. His influence multiplied because his success became a platform to lift others. Bold action created results. Giving back created legacy. Here's the ultimate lesson: success without courage is incomplete, and achievement without contribution is hollow. To live a life of real impact, you must do both: step forward when it matters most and lift others along the way. So ask yourself today, are you acting boldly enough to shape your destiny? Are you giving enough to create lasting meaning? The habits we've explored, mastering your mornings, prioritizing ruthlessly, learning endlessly, taking responsibility, building discipline, surrounding yourself with excellence, embracing failure, mastering emotions, acting boldly, and giving back are not theory. They are the roadmap to a life of unstoppable success and extraordinary fulfillment. The choice is yours. Start today. Your life is waiting.